what you're about to witness isn't just a promo. It's the moment wrestling broke its own rules. June 27, 2011, Las Vegas, Nevada. One man stood in that ring with a microphone, looked directly into the soul of World Wrestling Entertainment, and set the entire industry on fire. This wasn't about championships. This wasn't about glory. This was about truth, rebellion, and a wrestler who decided that the walls protecting wrestling's greatest secrets needed to come crashing down. CM Punk grabbed that microphone, sat down cross-legged on that stage, and delivered 7 minutes and 58 seconds that would change professional wrestling forever. They call it the pipe bomb. And if you weren't watching wrestling before this moment, you absolutely were after. Because what happened that night didn't just shake WWE to its core. It rewrote the rulebook on what a wrestler could say, how far they could push, and whether the fans would ever look at this business the same way again. Right now, you need to hit that subscribe button. Join the SLAMZONE family, because what we're about to break down together is more than just wrestling history. It's a masterclass in chaos, strategy, and the thin line between what's real and what's performance. Turn on those notifications. Let's do this together. Drop a comment below and tell me where you were when you first heard the pipe bomb, because I promise you, by the end of this video, you're going to understand why this moment still echoes through every wrestling ring on the planet. Picture this. Monday Night Raw. The energy in that arena is already electric, but something feels different tonight. CM Punk is scheduled to face John Cena in 8 days at Money in the Bank for the WWE Championship. But here's the twist that has everyone on the edge of their seats. Punk's contract is expiring the night of that pay-per-view. The man has one foot out the door. He's made it clear he's frustrated, he's disillusioned, and he's got nothing left to lose. That's the most dangerous kind of performer. When a wrestler doesn't care about consequences, when they're willing to burn every bridge on their way out, that's when magic or mayhem happens. And trust me, we got both. The crowd in Las Vegas knows something special is brewing. You can hear it in their voices. There's this buzz, this anticipation humming through the Thomas and Mack Center like electricity through a live wire. Signs everywhere. Punk supporters, Cena supporters, but mostly people who just want to see what happens when a man with nothing to lose gets handed a microphone in the middle of WWE programming. Raw general manager at the time was involved in the storyline tensions, authority figures were circling, and Punk had been pushing buttons, testing limits, seeing how far he could go before someone pulled the plug. Then the music hits. Cult of Personality wasn't his theme yet, but the energy when CM Punk walked out that night carried the same rebellious current. He makes his way down the ramp, and you can see it in his eyes. This isn't your typical wrestler doing their entrance routine. There's purpose in every step. There's fire behind those eyes. He's not coming out to perform the usual song and dance. He's coming out to say something that matters. Something real. Something that's been building inside him for years. He slides into the ring, grabs that microphone, and the crowd erupts. They don't even know what's coming yet, but they can sense it. You know that feeling when you're watching something live and your gut tells you that history is about to be made? That's what everyone in that arena felt. That's what millions watching at home felt. The air got thick. The noise settled into this focused attention. And then CM Punk sat down. Right there on the stage, legs crossed, microphone in hand, like he was about to have a conversation with 75 million people. And that's exactly what he did. John Cena, while you lay there, hopefully as uncomfortable as you possibly can be. That's how it started. Not with screaming. Not with the usual wrestling promo intensity. With calm. Controlled. Calculated. But underneath that calm, you could feel the volcano ready to explode. Punk starts talking about how he's the best in the world. Not with arrogance, but with conviction. With proof. He talks about how he's been the best wrestler in this company for years, but the machine, the system, the corporate structure has held him back. He's been overlooked, undervalued, disrespected. The crowd is hanging on every single word. Because this doesn't sound like a script. This sounds like a man who's been holding his frustration in a pressure cooker for years, and the valve just got released. He starts calling out names. Real names. Real issues. He talks about the brass ring, that imaginary prize that management tells wrestlers to reach for, except when you get close, they pull it higher. He mentions how the company is run by people who don't understand wrestling, who don't care about the performers, who only see dollar signs and merchandise sales. And then it gets nuclear. He mentions Vince McMahon, the boss, the chairman, the man who built this empire. Punk talks about how Vince is a millionaire who should be a billionaire, but he surrounded himself with yes-men and cronies who kiss his backside instead of telling him the truth. The crowd gasps. You don't say that name on WWE television with anything but reverence. You don't criticize the man who signs your checks, who controls your destiny, who could end your career with a phone call. But Punk doesn't care. Because his contract is expiring, and what are they going to do? Fire him harder? He brings up Hulk Hogan, The Rock. Names that are wrestling royalty, legends who left and came back whenever they felt like it, walking right into main event spots while full-time wrestlers like Punk grinded every single night on the road. He questions the system that rewards part-timers over the loyal soldiers. He calls out the hypocrisy, the favoritism, the politics. Every sentence is a bomb going off. Every name he mentions sends shockwaves through the wrestling world watching at home, through the locker room backstage, through the executive offices scrambling to figure out whether to cut his microphone. Halfway through this verbal assault, halfway through this moment that's rewriting what a wrestling promo can be, I need you to do something for me. Hit that like button right now. Subscribe to SLAMZONE if you haven't already, because we're breaking down the moments that transcend entertainment and become cultural phenomena. This is where we dig deeper, where we understand the layers, where we appreciate the art and the chaos of professional wrestling. Join this family. Let's keep building this community together. Now here's where the genius truly reveals itself. CM Punk is delivering a work shoot. Let me explain what that means because it's the key to understanding why this moment became legendary. Wrestling is predetermined. Everyone knows that. But within that predetermined framework, there are levels of reality. There's the storyline reality, what's happening to the characters. Then there's the backstage reality, what's actually happening to the performers behind the curtain. A shoot is when someone breaks character and speaks real truth. A work shoot is when someone uses real frustrations, real issues, real names, and real problems, but it's still within the framework of the show. It's approved. It's crafted. It's designed to make you question what's real. The brilliance of the pipe bomb is that nobody watching knew for certain which side of that line Punk was standing on. Was this really a bitter wrestler airing genuine grievances on his way out the door? Or was this a brilliant performer elevating his character with uncomfortable truths that management approved because they knew it would create buzz? The answer, as we learned later, is both. Triple H, who was transitioning into a corporate role, and Vince McMahon had discussions with Punk about pushing boundaries. They knew he had frustrations. They knew he could articulate them in a way that would feel authentic. But even they didn't know exactly what he was going to say when that microphone went hot. Punk keeps going. He talks about competition, how WWE should be better because they don't have to compete anymore. He says maybe he'll go to New Japan Pro Wrestling. Maybe he'll go to Ring of Honor, the independent promotion where he built his reputation before WWE came calling. He's threatening to take the WWE Championship, the most prestigious title in the company, and leave with it. Walk out the door. Show up on a rival company's programming with WWE's gold around his waist. That's insane. That's unprecedented. That's the ultimate middle finger to the establishment. The production truck backstage is losing their minds. Do they cut to commercial? Do they kill his microphone? You can actually see in the footage that they start dimming his mic volume, trying to subtly silence him without making it obvious. But it's too late. The damage is done. The message is out there. Social media is exploding. Twitter is melting down. Wrestling forums are crashing from traffic. Everyone is talking about what CM Punk just said, what it means, and what happens next. That promo didn't just end when Punk dropped the microphone. It reverberated. It created a movement. Suddenly, CM Punk merchandise sales went through the roof. His name was trending worldwide. Mainstream media outlets that never covered wrestling were writing articles about this wrestler who went rogue on live television. The question on everyone's lips was simple and impossible to answer definitively: was it real? WWE, being the masters of turning controversy into cash, leaned into it. They built the entire Money in the Bank pay-per-view around the uncertainty. Would Punk actually leave with the title? Would John Cena retain and keep the belt in the company? The storyline became must-see television because the outcome genuinely felt unpredictable. Even though wrestling is scripted, even though the company controls the narrative, the pipe bomb created this space where the script itself felt vulnerable. Leading up to that match, the tension was suffocating. Punk kept pushing. He kept blurring those lines between Phil Brooks the person and CM Punk the character. He did interviews where he danced around questions about his contract status. He wore shirts that said "Best in the World" and "Voice of the Voiceless," positioning himself as the spokesman for everyone who ever felt overlooked or undervalued, in wrestling or in life. The pipe bomb transformed him from a popular uppercard talent into a movement, into a symbol. And then came Money in the Bank. Chicago, Illinois. Punk's hometown. The atmosphere that night was volcanic. 18,000 people packed into the Allstate Arena knowing they might witness their hero become champion in his final night with the company, or watch him walk away empty-handed. When Punk's music hit, the eruption shook the building. When John Cena came out, the boos were deafening even though he's the company's top star. This wasn't about Cena being bad. This was about the machine he represented versus the rebel they believed in. The match itself was phenomenal. Both men brought everything. They told a story of desperation, of legacy, of what happens when two different philosophies collide. Near falls had the crowd standing, screaming, believing that each one could be the finish. The energy never dropped. It built and built, higher and higher, until finally, Punk hit the go to sleep on Cena, covered him, and the referee counted 3. CM Punk won the WWE Championship in his hometown on the night his contract expired. He grabbed that title, kissed it, and walked up the ramp as confetti fell and fireworks exploded and 18,000 voices screamed themselves hoarse. The image of CM Punk sitting at the top of the stage, title held high, blowing a kiss goodbye to Vince McMahon watching from backstage, became iconic instantly. That was the payoff. That was the reward for weeks of building tension, of blurring reality, of making fans invest emotionally in an outcome that mattered. And the story didn't even end there. Punk showed up at Comic-Con with the WWE Championship. The company continued the angle. It became the summer of Punk, a renaissance period that elevated television ratings and proved that wrestling fans were hungry for something that felt real, that felt edgy, that felt dangerous. So what did the pipe bomb actually accomplish? It proved that wrestling works best when it incorporates elements of reality. When performers are allowed to channel genuine frustrations into their characters, the authenticity resonates. It showed that fans aren't stupid. They know wrestling is scripted, but they want to be invested. They want to care. And when you give them something that feels like it matters, like there are real stakes and real consequences, they'll follow you anywhere. The pipe bomb opened doors for other wrestlers to speak more freely, to push boundaries, to incorporate real-life elements into storylines. It influenced how promos are written, how storylines are developed, how much reality gets mixed into the fiction. WWE's entire Attitude Era years earlier had similar elements, but the pipe bomb did it in the social media age where everything spreads instantly and globally. It became a template for how to create viral moments in professional wrestling. CM Punk's career trajectory changed forever that night. He became a legitimate main event star. He had historic title reigns. He became the face of a movement within WWE that valued wrestling ability and microphone skills and authenticity over just the bodybuilder look or the corporate-approved image. Even after he eventually left WWE on bad terms years later, the pipe bomb remained his defining moment. It's what people remember. It's what they reference. It's the promo that gets shown in documentaries and highlight reels and debates about the greatest wrestling promos of all time. Before we wrap this up, I need you to do something. Smash that like button. Subscribe to SLAMZONE right now. Turn on your notifications so you never miss when we break down these legendary moments. Share this video with anyone who loves wrestling, who appreciates the art of storytelling, who wants to understand why certain moments become immortal. Comment below and tell me what your favorite CM Punk moment is, or what other wrestling moments you want us to dissect next. This channel only grows because of you. We're building something special here, and I'm grateful for every single one of you who comes back week after week to geek out over this beautiful, chaotic, incredible world of professional wrestling. The pipe bomb wasn't just a promo. It was a line in the sand. It was a declaration that wrestling could be more than cartoonish characters and predictable storylines. It could be raw. It could be real. It could make you feel something genuine even while knowing it's part of a show. CM Punk grabbed that microphone with nothing to lose and everything to prove, and he delivered something that transcended the moment it happened. 13 years later, we're still talking about it. We're still analyzing it. We're still feeling the ripples it created across the entire wrestling industry. That's the power of authenticity. That's the power of a performer who understands their character so deeply that they can channel real emotion into scripted entertainment and make it feel like the walls between reality and performance have completely dissolved. Whether you loved CM Punk or hated him, whether you agreed with what he said or thought he was out of line, you couldn't ignore it. You had to have an opinion. You had to pick a side. And that engagement, that emotional investment, is what makes wrestling matter. The pipe bomb proved that wrestling, when done right, is art. It's storytelling at its most visceral and immediate. It's athletes and performers putting their bodies and their reputations on the line to make you care about something that doesn't technically matter but somehow matters more than almost anything else when you're caught up in the moment. CM Punk sat cross-legged on that stage in Las Vegas and reminded us why we fell in love with professional wrestling in the first place. Because sometimes, just sometimes, the line between what's real and what's performance disappears completely, and all that's left is the moment, the emotion, and the truth that both performer and audience feel together. This is SLAMZONE, where we celebrate those moments. Where we dig deeper into the stories behind the stories. Where we appreciate the craft and the chaos and the brilliance of professional wrestling. Thank you for being here. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for joining this family. Until next time, keep watching, keep analyzing, and keep believing that sometimes, the most powerful moments in wrestling are the ones that make us question everything we thought we knew. The pipe bomb lives forever. And so does the legacy of the man who had the courage to light the fuse.